Hello everybody, FRR Racing DP here for the FRR Racing test session, the second one from this evening. Now if you saw the first test session, you saw us talking about a lot of things to do with broadcasting, AI cars, a little bit of lag, different things like that. For this one I'm going to try and cover a few things that will be coming in the coming days, or as it looks like we've got a wet session here in Mexico. We've got another short qualifying session and then a race, and it is wet. I mean, we're in Mexico and it's absolutely hammering it down. But yeah, I'm going to try and cover a few things that were going to be posted to the FRR Racing Facebook page in the coming days. Now, one question that obviously there's two questions that a lot of the FRR Racing drivers have been asking recently, and we've not really been able to give a proper answer other than not yet. The two questions are, when do we get to choose our cars? And the second one is, when's the league starting? Now, if you're watching this and you haven't watched the first test session from today, go watch that, because we covered a lot of stuff that has put delays onto the starting of our league. So we have discussed a lot of that in there. As for the car choices, I am going to talk a little bit about this one. Now, Steve's gone on mute for a Racer GP. He's with us at the moment. Actually, yeah. Do you need to go and say goodnight to your daughter, or are you here for a little while?
I've done that. I'm here now.
You've done that? Okay, so Steve's with us. So, the car choices. Now, we haven't yet told everybody how we're going to do that, but the information is going to be posted on Facebook, hopefully tomorrow evening. We've been posting... on Wednesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays we've been putting 2 posts out to try and get a lot of information out there, and tomorrow we are hoping to put out the information regarding the car choices. Now, we are going to try and do things, well, it's a tiny bit different to previous seasons, but I first want to explain why we've had to wait. A while ago, quite some time ago, before F1 2016 came out, we had our grids confirmed. 14 drivers in the World Championship, 14 drivers in the World Series. We had the grids confirmed, the drivers confirmed, the teams that they were going to be in confirmed. Not all the team names are in yet, though, so we'll be chasing those guys that need to pick a name, or we're going to pick one for them. And then obviously, just before F1 2016 came out, they went to the larger lobbies. So that put us in the situation of, okay, do we go to the bigger lobby, don't we? It took a while to go through that process, because we needed to make sure that the game could handle it, and when it first came out, it could. Since the patch, or the update, it's looked a little bit hairy, if I'm honest. So we're still going to go with it, but it could still cause some problems. Now, one of the main difficulties with going to the larger lobby is deciding who takes those places. Now, in the World Series, I would probably say that choice has been a lot easier. Apart from, there was one driver that we'd worked out, okay, this guy, he deserves a place, but unfortunately he's no longer able to race, so there was an open seat there. Now, when taking into consideration who's going to get places, there are so many factors that are taken into account, and a part of that does have to be pace. But that's not the be-all and end-all. At the end of the day, if someone comes along and they're really, really quick, that's one thing. But if you've got 18 guys that have been racing in the FRR days last season every week, then they deserve a shot as well. So it's not always as easy as going, well, that guy's fast, he's in. You do have to think of everybody else as well.
Also, it's about why is he fast? Is he fast because he's sticking to track limits or not? Yeah. Because that also plays a big part in it.
I mean, that's the thing. We could chuck quick people in and then watch them get penalties every race, or appreciate the fact that the guys in the FRR days from last season, they've had that opportunity of doing a whole season and seeing what happens in the World Championship, the World Series, what gets penalised, what doesn't, and all those kind of factors. Now, in the World Championship and the World Championship reserves, that's a very different scenario, because there were not that many reserve drivers for the World Championship last season. So for us, dropping the FRR Days events, which were hosted on Fridays, and bringing in the new World Championship reserves and the World Series reserves, personally I think it is a great way forward for the league. And a lot of people have agreed with that concept, which is why we're going forward with it. But what it has meant is, in the World Championship reserves, there was only a few drivers to sort of really get their teeth into that. So we are still promoting that there are spaces in the World Championship reserves, but it also brought the difficulty of, okay, who gets the places that will be available in the World Championship? Now, obviously, there's a few drivers that were automatically considered, but then we also have to consider all of the guys that get in touch that have seen the advert for the World Championship reserves. And we can't just go, well, you were first, you were in, and that kind of thing, because again, you do have to consider pace, driver awareness, internet connection, a lot of different factors. So it takes time to try and make nearly the right decision on those calls. So we haven't been able to confirm the grids, and because we've not been able to confirm the grids, we've not wanted to go ahead with arranging the car selections. And a big part of that is it's time, really. If we sort out the already confirmed drivers, okay, they're done, but we're then going to have to again confirm everybody, the new guys. Now, really, in a practical sense, it makes much more sense to do it all in one go. So we want to get the grids locked down, the drivers confirmed, the teams confirmed, their names confirmed if possible, and then we can do the car selection, and we can do it all in one go. Now, as I said, we are going to put information out on Facebook tomorrow. I don't know whether it's probably best if I actually just read what we're going to put out there, because then it's the same rather than me perhaps trying to make it up a little bit. Now, some of this may change a little bit compared to when the information goes out, but here we go. This is the information that's going to be going out in the next day or so. Okay, FRR Racing F1 2016 Season 7, information regarding teams' car selection. We are fully aware that this has been a long-awaited off-season detail, so here are the details of how FRR will finalise the team's car selections once the final drivers have been confirmed. In a few days, and Saturday is our aim, we will put a post out listing the order of choice for the teams, deciding by constructors' standings from last season and taking into account information of new teams. Leading up to that, we will contact each of the teams that have been confirmed so far, asking for their team's top 5 car choices. Number 1 being the car that they really want to use, going down to number 5 being a car that they will have if all the others are taken. Now, we want to do this privately so FRR Racing can work out exactly what car each team will be using for Season 7 before we do the public announcement of the cars the teams have chosen. Now, there is more to this message, but I just want to recap on a couple of things here. The car selection choice is done by constructors' order from last season. So whoever won the championship, Constructors' Championship, gets first pick, second pick, and so on. But some teams have split, formed new teams, and all that has had to be worked out. So on Saturday we'll put a post out that shows everybody what the order of selection will be, so which team gets to pick first, which team gets to pick second, and so on. And the reason that we want to ask the teams to give us their sort of top 5 choice is so that in the background we can sort of work out, okay, that this team, they're going to be in that car, this team's probably going to be in that car, and so on, so that when we do our public announcement we've already got all of the information, which will help us announce it better. But not only that, if teams aren't able to attend, then we can deal with that. So on to the next part of the information we're going to put out. So public announcement, how will we do this? Well, our plan is to do a separate broadcast stroke podcast for the World Championship and the World Series on different days, where we will invite the first team in to choose their car and have a chat with them. Things like what's your target for the season, all that kind of stuff, introduce yourselves, all that kind of thing.
Who's your number 1 driver?
Yeah, all those really tough questions. So we'll have a bit of a chat with them. We'll then move on to the second team, the third team, and so on, until each team has chosen their car. This is where FRR Racing, having the information prior to the show, will allow us to cover any teams that cannot make the car selection show, and their choice can still be confirmed, along with adding something extra to the show, as I mentioned a moment ago. Now, we are looking at doing the car selection show during a Wednesday test session for World Championship and during a Thursday test session for World Series. In a perfect world, this will take place on Wednesday 21st and Thursday 22nd of September, which is next Wednesday and Thursday. But for this to happen, we will need the drivers to move fast when the final drivers have been confirmed for them to choose who their teammate will be, their team name, and what car they will want to choose. Now, drivers, we would ask that you please make yourselves as available as you can be for the car selection show, and keep an eye out for any date changes on this. This is your first chance of the season to let everyone know who you are, what you want to achieve, and why the followers should support you and not the other guys. So there's some information about that one for you. Now, for those teams that will be announced as having first pick, second pick, they might think, oh, we don't need to pick 5 cars. We still would like you to, because that's going to roll onto a part of the show that we're going to try and do. How much time we'll get to spend talking to each team, we don't know. I think last season we did it about 5 minutes a team, and we did World Championship and World Series straight after, and it took us about 2 hours. So it's going to be somewhere around about 5 minutes chatting with each of the teams, I reckon. Okay, so that's one piece of information that's going out tomorrow. There has been some information put out on the Facebook page today regarding safety car restart procedures. There's also some information going out later on today, just highlighting some information of posts that will be coming out in the near future. Now, once we've got the grids confirmed and the car selections confirmed, we are much closer to being able to announce a league start date. Now, for some of us, obviously, yeah, we want to get going, we want to get started, but at the same time, there are still some factors with the game that, as a league, Front Row Racing have to take into account. The problems for hosts of lobbies at the moment, the update and patch has caused, that's a major issue. The desynchronization, that is also an issue. The AI cars still being on the track, for me, that's one of those things that could put a complete stop to a league. But at the same time, if they're not going to change that, if they're not going to be able to allow us to be able to have them ghosted or remove them, then it may be a situation of just saying to the drivers, look, there is absolutely nothing we can do about this, you're just going to have to live with it. If you get involved in a collision with them, kind of tough, I'm afraid, because we can't, if someone's been unfortunately disconnected or whatever, if they're not in control of the car, it's very difficult to give them a kind of penalty for it.
Same with the broadcast car, like you were saying, it was a broadcast car. You can't penalise a broadcast car.
No, I mean, that's the thing, exactly. I mean, I'm sure all of the drivers and the fans would love to be able to see the start of the race. But we have to consider, okay, what's better? Having an AI car on the grid that could cause some problems and see the start of the race, or not see the start of the race and not have the broadcaster's AI car. Now, personally, I'm kind of sort of got my feet stuck in the mud on this one a bit, because I think we should stand our ground and go, Codemasters, this isn't right. We shouldn't be in this situation. We should be able to retire during the formation lap or pre-select spectate and be able to show everybody the start of the race. That's what we want to do. I mean, could you imagine the uproar, right, okay, the uproar of the next F1 race because FOM don't catch the start of the race. They wait to show, they get to turn 3 and then they start showing the race. The fans would go absolutely bonkers, wouldn't they?
Yeah, you'd wonder how the hell someone's gone from first to third, or not even in the top 10 anymore, and it's like, well, yeah.
And not only that, as a broadcaster or a commentator, there's always something happens in those opening few corners. But if you're sat on the grid sort of easing forward a few metres to not bring out a safety car or anything, you don't know if people are crashing into each other. So you've no idea what happens in those opening few corners. It's horrible. But on the other side, could you imagine what would happen if they started the race. You got to see the start of the race, but then you've got David Croft being controlled by a robot driving around at the back of the grid, crashing into everybody. You know, there's no win situation in that. So that's the situation Front Row Racing's in at the moment when it comes to choosing a start date. Trust us, we haven't penciled one in. We simply haven't, because one of the things we've learned from years ago is we've never wanted to say this is when we'll start and then have to delay it. As frustrating as it might be to say, sorry guys, we're not going to give a start date yet. Yes, that's frustrating, but that's better. It's better for us to say, look, we want to make sure that some of the fundamentals are working right, rather than let's go on this date and then get to that date and everyone go, well, hang on, that AI car's just wrote me off. So yeah.
What I would say in that is as well, we will always give our league drivers enough time to know when the start date is. It's not like we're going to go, oh, we're going to do it this week, we're going to start this week.
Yeah, I mean,
we're always going to give a minimum of 2 weeks, if possible more, but depending on if we're happy with everything. But whatever the next patch brings out or may change again.
I mean that's the other thing about it. I mean, okay, if they bring out a patch to patch the patch and the update, and it fixes everything, and they get rid of the AI, fantastic. But if we select a start date in a week or 2 weeks' time, and they bring out a patch on Monday, and it makes everything even worse, we're then going to be sat there banging our heads thinking, okay, what do we do? Now, that could happen anyway, and there will come a point where we will be at the point of saying, right, okay, we now know everything we need to know. This will be when we start, regardless of what happens with patch updates. But annoyingly, I mean, from a league's perspective, having to work out what we may have to do if the AI car causes issues it's a major ball ache that we don't really want to have to deal with. But there we go. We'll try not to rant about that too much. Okay, other things coming up in the near future. There's going to be a couple more rules confirmations. There's going to be an interesting post which is hinted at on a post going out to later this evening, so I won't mention too much about that. Stewards Guides pictures, they'll be done as soon as possible, but to be fair, they will only put out once sort of like it's confirmed, right, here's the one for Australia, here's the one for Malaysia, what have you. Confirmations of the drivers and things like that, so it's only sort of the final things that we need to really sort of get finished off, and the Front Row Racing rulebook, which will be a video that'll be put onto YouTube where any driver can refer to it at any point throughout the season, but also for new people that want to join, they will be given access, they'll be given the link to the FRR rulebook, so they'll be able to see basically how Front Row Racing goes about, or how in depth it goes. I mean, to be honest, I think last season's rule book had about 22 pages, which, okay, there was only like 3 or 4 sentences on a page, but it's still 22 pages, and I wouldn't be surprised if this season is going to be longer. But anyway, we're 15 minutes from the end of the session, which means that we're going to be
seconds.
Did I say minutes? I'm sorry, yeah. I meant seconds. 15 seconds away from the end of the session, which means at the end of this qualifying session, I'm going to be leaving the lobby again to try and catch the start of the race. And what'll be interesting is to see whether on this occasion I get to control my car or not. Something else I want to quickly touch on as well, and I'll touch on it a little more when the race gets going, is I was talking about double tap share recording now being available for up to 60 minutes. Now, we did have a bit of a technical issue when I went off the last broadcast to have a look at the footage and test the quality and everything. There was a bit of a technical issue there, which I thought we'd been able to work out quite quickly, but then it didn't really make any sense. So I haven't been able to check whether we're able to record for the complete hour what the quality is like, but I believe Steve's doing that at the moment. For this broadcast, I've put it on the highest level of broadcast quality, which I mentioned earlier on, tells you that you cannot record gameplay, and I am now going to try and do a double tap share record to record the gameplay. And it has given me a message saying gameplay is currently not being recorded. So confirmed then that if you are doing a live stream on 720p at 60 Hz, which is meant to be fairly decent quality, you can't do double tap share record for a 60-minute duration. What I haven't tried is bringing that length of time down to 30 minutes, 15 minutes, and to be honest, personally, I won't try it, but it's helpful for people to know that, really. But at 720p 24 hertz, it was allowing to record. But anyway, okay, there's the qualifying order then. So I'm going to jump out and I'll leave Steve to tell you about the grid.
Yeah, so on the grid we've got 28 seconds to go. So I should quickly run through this. 10th Fear on the Inter tyres with Hindle second, Casely third, It's Hammer Time fourth, Dave the Harp in fifth, Rick Stone sixth, Overdyking seventh, Tina 8th, Drew 9th, and Jason 10th. So the Inter tyres, just having a quick look. We've only got three drivers there on the wets. We've got Rickster, Overdyking, and Jason on the wets. We are expecting a dry start to the race, so it'll be interesting to see if we do get that dry start. So at the moment we are loading through to the grid where we'll be able to check what the strategy says for this 25% race. So the strategy says one stop will be quicker by about 12 seconds. So I shall come away from that and click that I'm ready. Once everyone else has clicked they're ready, that will get the formation lap underway and we'll be able to get DP back to the circuit, but we're not quite there just yet.
No, so as a bit of a recap for everyone then, this is the situation that kind of basically Codemasters have sort of told us is the only way to be able to watch the start of the race. So we've left, or the broadcaster has left the qualifying session. I'm now waiting for Steve to let me know when the formation lap is about to begin or is beginning, and then I will return myself into the lobby. Not take control of my car and try and spectate the start of the race. But this is where we'll probably find that my invites have now expired, but I've got a fair few of them. Now, previously, we had seen that invites last a long time. They used to only last about 8 to 14 minutes, I think, for F1 2015, whereas now, I mean, I've got invites here. I've just used one which is over an hour old. So invites do last a lot longer, which is great if you're on with mates that are doing a lot of races. Useful for league races, but I'm glad actually that they've done that, because one of the things we used to find on F1 2015, Steve, was that right, okay, it's not giving me control of my car. See, now I don't have a problem with this, I really don't, right? But this is interesting. We tested this and it wasn't happening like this. It would give me control of my own car. I don't have a problem with this as long as my car's not on the grid and doesn't cause a problem.
So just to confirm, at the moment it will, you can see your car but it won't let you control it?
No, I am looking at, I think it's Hammer Time who is on the grid. So there isn't even, no, it's Temp Fear, sorry, who's sat on the grid. I'm looking at him, going through the list of names. My name's not on there. So this, see now this bit, okay, fine. But if my car appears on the track like it did at Russia, that's still a bit of a problem. Now it could be down to the timing of when I rejoin. Like if I'd rejoined before the cars had started the formation lap, that may be where I get to control my car. But we'll see what happens here. But this, for me, being able to see the start of the race like this is what the game needs. Oh no, oh yeah, it has just skipped me. Okay, it's saying driver in view, Roman Grosjean. So my car, I think, is on the grid, but we're going to watch Temp Fear. No, there we are.
They're following your car.
Yeah, so I'm actually on board with my car now. I went to go on board with Temp Fear. Right, okay, my car, it's pulled over. See, now this I don't have a problem with, as long as the car buggers off.
I know that Drew has been disconnected. That's why his car stopped.
Right, now I do actually want to go and watch the drivers driving around this track, but I'm going to sit on my car for a moment, right, for a little while, because it's not giving me the opportunity to take over, and we've got a safety car. Now that could be because a collision has happened. Right, okay,
I'm just skipping through.
Right, okay, so if you keep an eye on whatever may be happening on the track. Now, for a safety car to come out, that means there should have been a big crash, or there's a car stuck in the middle of the road. Oh my god, I've just seen one of those little white snowflake style things. That was really weird, really close. Okay, now this situation is similar to what we had in Mexico, but I'm actually able to view on board Grosjean, but I can't take control of the car to get rid of it. So the safety car coming out, if that's for a collision, a big collision that we've not seen, then that's fine. That's the safety car doing its job. But if the safety car has come out for this is a problem, right? This is a race affecting situation. Now, it could be that the safety car's come out because I'm viewing this car on board, but okay, so the lead car has just gone past me, so the rest of the field,
a couple of cars in the pits. In fact, that might just be the pitting because it's a safety car. In fact, yeah, about half the field has opted to do a pit stop at this point. I haven't seen any damage on any of the vehicles, and that was something I was looking for. Was damage on vehicles. There wasn't any damage.
Yeah, and there hasn't really... I mean, you said Drew may have been disconnected. Now, someone getting disconnected, that's not a reason to bring out a safety car. But if these guys are seeing my car at the side of the track, they're going to be sat there now thinking, well, is the safety car out because that car's parked there? But this is now emphasising to the drivers what one of the major problems is. How are you supposed to do a league race if this is the situation?
Yeah, and I would say the safety car came out not long after I retired, but I was miles away from anyone else.
Yeah.
And I was on a little bit of tarmac all by myself.
So if the safety car's come out because you've retired from the session, and when you retire from the session your car's not on the track, then why's the safety car come out? Now, the other thing is as well, okay, the safety car's come out. If it's come out for my car ain't going nowhere. There is absolutely nothing I can do about this car. Other than perhaps go and view someone else and see if it disappears. But if the safety car is out...
It won't let me view yours.
Yeah. Now, the safety car could be out because of this car. Does that mean the safety car is going to stay out?
Well, that's it. I mean, is your car going to actually disappear?
I don't think it is, because it didn't at Russia. Now, obviously, okay, I've been on board with my car for a while now. We can see I've got no way of taking over control of the car. And to be honest, I mean, okay, just before the lights sort of came on, went green, it did pop up on my screen like Romain Grosjean driver in view. I went to view temp FIA and it automatically put me on the view of Romain Grosjean. So I didn't actively choose to view Romain Grosjean. The game's done that for me. Now, if it was going to do that, it should have given me the opportunity to take control of the car, but it hasn't. Anyway, I'm now going to go away from this car because most of the grid has gone past me now. So we'll see if the safety car... I'm just thinking, actually, Steve, do we stay here and see if the safety car is going to come in anyway, right? Because what I was thinking was, if I go off the view, the safety car might come in. But I've got a feeling the safety car is going to stay out for at least 2 or 3 laps anyway. So it's a bit of a tricky situation, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on board with Hindle at the moment, so I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. I don't know if Drew's actually listening to this live stream or anything, but he has just asked whether we're going to do a restart, and I can confirm at this point, no, because we need to know what's going to happen.
Yeah. It's unfortunate for Drew, it really is, but this is what kind of test sessions are about. Because we've got a situation now where if this was a league race, we'd have to know what we were doing. It's like you were saying earlier. What has brought out this safety car? I'll tell you what, Steve, have a look on the race director. I'll do it as well.
Just bear with me, I'm going to see if this safety car goes for another lap, because it's just in the final couple of corners.
I'll look at the race director then. So on here, there is nothing for collisions.
The safety car's on for another lap.
Overdyking's got a drive-through for speeding in the pit lane. Rickster got terminal damage, but that happened on lap 3. So that happened under the safety cars, right?
Yes, yeah, I saw him pit.
Right, okay, so the safety car is still out then. Now, obviously, we've got no control over this car at the moment. But as Steve was saying, this is something that we need to test. Now, I tell you what, I was thinking, what lap does it say you're on your screen now, Steve?
4.
Okay, so you're on lap 4. So the safety car this is the third lap that the safety car has come out. Now, you like to work on the thought of the safety car usually comes out, goes in within 3 laps. We'll see if the safety car comes in this lap. If it doesn't, I will go and view one of the other cars, because in a way I would like to know if, as soon as I jump over to a different view, the safety car will come in. I mean, it may come in anyway, we don't know, but we do have to kind of test these things, because if the safety car has come out because of this car here and it's going to stay out for the whole of the race, that's a wasted race. Yeah. Now I see that Dan Evs has commented on the YouTube chat saying, wait until your car car goes.
It's been sat there for 4 laps.
Yeah, I mean the car has been. I was trying to work out what he might mean. The car has been parked up here on its own.
Oh, the lights are out on the safety car.
Okay, so the safety car's going in. So you would have to think then that that's got absolutely nothing to do with my car being here, but we'll have to keep an eye out whether yellow flags stay out. Now, in some respects, if the broadcaster's car is going to be parked up out the way with no yellow flags or anything like that, that's not too much of a problem. But if all he's got to do is bring out one yellow flag or park up in the wrong place, and that's a major problem. Rickster's just commented saying hammer time lagging all over the show. Did the slow car glitch and appeared right in front of me. So that's massively annoying for Rickster. Caused me to smash my wheel off.
Cars back. Still there. We still have got both cars on the side of the circuit that were what possibly brought out the safety car. So, like, what was the point in it?
Okay. Alright, but the safety car is now back in. Who's leading the race? Tenth Fear. Is he? No, Tenth Fear. No, he's just gone for a big dive bomb on Tina, and it didn't quite work. I mean, okay, right. Safety cars, they are an interesting idea. It's an interesting sort of concept. So there's a bit of damage there. That's probably where Rickster's race ended. Now, when you look at the safety car doing what it's done now, right, okay, if it brought a safety car out for Rickster's massively unfortunate loads of lag caused a collision, you could understand that.
Yeah.
But from what we can tell so far, there was nothing that really happened at the start of the race worthy of bringing out a safety car, which only adds to the sort of theory of, you know what, we may just have to scrap it. So, okay, let's see. I'll keep an eye out for any yellow flags. But okay, so there's my car. No, that's not my car. Here's my car. So there we go. So 2 cars parked up at the side of the road. This is like watching F1 from the 1980s, where if you ever seen a Monaco race there'd just be cars on the side of the road with nowhere to put them. It is a little bit like that. So in some respects, it's not a problem. But could you imagine what the uproar would be? Right. Let's say, for example, someone goes for an overtake down that straight, and they've got DRS open, and they go for a move, they have a bit of a wiggle, they end up touching the grass, it pulls them off the track into the car and that's their race over. You've got someone's race ended by a broadcaster's car that he's got no control over and can't get rid of. And some people may say, well, that's no reason to not start a league. It is. It really is, you know. I mean, not being daft, right? And I know I did my rant video the other day, and this is not meant to be a rant video. But if the Codemasters public, the gamers, the league owners, the league runners, the fans, everything, want stuff like that to not be in the game, the way...
just crashed out. That might bring out a safety car.
We'll have to keep an eye on that. Yeah, if we want Codemasters to make sure things are done properly, just getting on with it and going, oh, it'll be fine, that's not the way to do it. I mean, come on, if you got a missus and she decided to kiss another guy, would you go, oh, you know what, it's fine? No, of course you wouldn't. Well, not unless you're into that kind of thing. But, you know what I mean, there's only so much that really you can go, okay, that's acceptable. A little bit of visual oddity, you can accept that. but a car parked up at the side of the grid not going anywhere, no, you can't have that, because like Steve said, at Monaco, right, okay, at Monaco, where's that car going to go?
Yeah, can I just also say that since I saw Temp Fear crash, I have got the audio glitch again, which was something they were meant to have corrected on that last patch.
Okay, now, I haven't got the audio glitch yet, but usually it does come a little later. For anyone that doesn't know, basically when you're spectating and someone has a big crash and you hear the thud and the dulling of the sound, imagine like if you're doing a practice session, you write your car off, when you next get to drive it, it sounds awful. Well, as a spectator, you get that audio glitch. Now, the person who is directly spectating pretty much gets it straight away. Other spectators tend to get it a little bit later. So, as Steve said, Codemasters said they'd worked on that one, but it is obviously one that's still apparent. Tenfear saying something like it when the game doesn't fix my damage. Let's see.
Did he opt to turn front wing damage repair off?
It's a good question. He may have done, he may not have done. But I mean, I'm not watching what's actually happening on my monitor. I'm what's happening on. I'm watching the broadcast on my computer, to be honest. And I've just seen, like, at the corner of my eye, we've seen two cars driving down the main straight, attacking each other, and they're about 5 feet away from my car.
Yeah.
So at Monaco, I mean, I would say that my car's probably, what, 300-400 metres from the start line, right? So if that was Monaco, you've probably got, what, 100 metres to turn one? Now, if it pulled off into the service road, the escape road on the left, people might think that's fine. It's not. The escape road's there for a reason. I've just seen a tyre in the middle of the road as well. Excuse me. The escape road's there for a reason. If you get turn one wrong in the race and you go for the escape road, you don't want to be hitting a car that's already there. As funny as that might be for us to watch.
That's why they move out of the way.
Exactly. So yeah, Monaco. So is it going to go off the service road there? Maybe, but there's still a problem. After that, there's nowhere it can go until the corner before Lowe's hairpin. So if that car decides to matinee or whatever it is, if that car decides to just park with the side of the road up the hill at Monaco, you're going to have an absolute disaster.
What I'm surprised at here, though, is how bad Temp Fear's accident was, and it didn't bring out a virtual safety car or a safety car. Now, he was literally inches off the tarmac, literally inches over the white line, and that was in a dangerous position because it was on the exit of a corner, and it's where cars tend to just creep over.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which corner was it that he crashed on?
Well, do you know there's the hairpin, which is turn 6, which is double apex, then you've got the left-hander, that one.
Yeah, Caselow's just gone through it now, yeah. So he crashed to the left-hander.
I'm just trying to... No, it couldn't have been that one, because there's quite a wide... I'm just having a look. I'm watching a car at the moment. I'm just trying to see... In fact, it might be better for Temp Fear to let us know which one it was.
Yeah, go on, Temp. Tell us which corner. I'm hearing from Drew that he got pushed on the first lap. Okay, so we've got Mr. Biscuit Games, which is Rickster, as Caseley goes for the pits. Now, Rickster's saying, oh yeah, I had a broken front wing after the first lap, so I pitted. And even though I said it to fix the wing, they didn't fix my wing. Now, I do have a little bit of a theory on this one as well. And this goes on to what we were saying in part 2 of the test sessions, that Codemasters have been asking a lot of people when reporting bugs whether they've gone from session to session to session, or whether they've reloaded the games, which is obviously something that we were on the ball with on F1 2015. Now, it is possible that by not reloading, it's taken away, for whatever reason, that possibility or that thing that should really happen of being a capability, of being able to repair your damage. Now, I know when we did 2 seasons on F1 2015, obviously we worked out for every race, we asked all the drivers, if you've been on the game in any way, shape or form, turn it off, turn it back on, join us in the lobby. It helped massively with the desynchronization. It was frustrating, but from a league's point of view, it kind of did help a lot towards the synchronization, and you could tell the difference from doing that and not doing it. Is a massive difference. Now, doing that for one game, that's one thing. Doing it for 2 games, that's a little bit too much, really, because, I mean, could you imagine how many people wouldn't buy Call of Duty or wouldn't buy Battlefield if they had to reload their game after every match? Or FIFA, or Battlefield 1, or Rocket League, or, I don't know, Minions on Mars, whatever games people want to play. So yeah,
DC racing line going on here.
I know, I'm on board with Casely here. Overdyking did a nice little move on him on the previous lap, but it's Casely's turn this time to go all the way around the outside. We can still see in the background, oh no, Overdyking's making it work for it. But no, Casely, fresher tyres, is not long pitted, manages to stay ahead. Okay, Temp Fear did get back to us. Let's see, Temp Fear, last corner out of the S's. So I'm guessing that means, so the last
11.
corner in the middle sector. So the corner where Richie Davey and Dave the Harp had their enormous shunt last season. Okay, I'm going to go on board view, right? So Temp Fear is saying that he had a crash in a moment. Now, bear in mind what brought out the safety car earlier on. We still don't really know, but there is some damage in the left-hander turn 7. But Temp Fear, his crash, it wasn't here, it wasn't here, it was effectively here, right?
Yeah, that yellow point was.
So on that part of the circuit, as Casey makes a nice little move on Jason, on that part of the circuit, a crash that rips your wheel off, that's a safety car crash. So why has the safety car not come out for that? But it has, for whatever the reason was earlier on.
Yeah.
So Tempfear is saying, I didn't end up about a metre from the track. Oh, sorry, he did. Tempfear did end up about a metre from the track. But, yeah, so to be honest, I think if Front Row Racing is going to be picking a start date in the very near future, it probably is going to be without the safety car. Whether turning the safety...
Just wondering if we can find out from Tempfear if he's got any idea why the safety car may have come out.
That's a good point, actually. Tempfear was obviously in the race at the start and is now spectating. So, yeah, Tempfear, start of the race, was there anything that you saw that could have been the cause of the safety car?
And we'll sit quietly wait for him for his answer.
I'll tell you what he has just said. Both his right wheels came off and he lost his wing. You know what? I don't think losing your front wing would have been too much of a problem when both of your right wheels have gone. Can you imagine that radio call to the pits? Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I've lost the front wing. And they come back with... Can you get it back to the pits? Box. We'll put a new front wing on for you. Oh, I don't think you can. I've only got 2 wheels on the car.
Yeah. We'll keep them on the tarmac. You don't want to
So you can hopefully, though, people that have been watching this, especially some of the FRR drivers, you may be able to appreciate now some of the reasons why we've not been able to put a start date on, because I mean, I've said a few times there's a few problems still that Codemasters need to sort out, and there is, and if we just go with starting the league, there could be a lot of problems, which, let's face it, what do we want to do? Do we want to be moaning and grumbling and groaning after a league race that's been an absolute disaster because the game's not working right? Or do we want to finish a race and sit there and go, you know what, okay, he crashed out, massively disappointing, but that was a cracking race. That's what we want.
Exactly.
Okay, a couple more of the comments here. I mean, like I say, I'm still not really focusing too much on what's happening on the screen. Rick said, just go back to F1 2013, that game was perfect. It probably was, but I mean, to be fair, I mean, when you look at it, right, with a safety car, you think how many people begged and wanted the safety car, and I can understand why, but I can also understand why Codemasters left it out of the last game. Okay, another one from Rickster. I've been wanting this season to start so badly, but I'd rather wait until multiplayer is fixed. And yeah, I mean, that is kind of the situation. Drew said he had a load of fun in the first race. He ran out of fuel in the last lap, sector 3. Tempfear said, I think this would be to do with the safety car. I think it is because effectively 2 cars have dropped out of the race at the very start, so the game might think there has been a massive crash off the start, and maybe other cars with damage possibly. Okay.
Well, let's just clarify one thing there.
Yep.
One of them didn't retire at the start. It was under the AI control that decided to pull it off the track and stop driving.
Yeah.
Because you didn't decide to take back control of it.
Yeah, exactly. That is very, very true. I was not driving. So, I mean, it's not like I retired or parked up. The game did that itself. But, I mean, what said there is quite interesting, though, because, as we've mentioned, if that was the cause of the safety car, right, 2 cars not properly starting the race and a few cars getting damage, drivers getting a bit of damage at the start of a race, like damaging a front wing or even getting a puncture, that's not really a cause for a safety car. A Spa situation from real F1 from last year, or from the Grosjean era, yeah, fair enough, safety car. But for it to bring out a safety car for that and then not bring out a safety car for the massive crash, that's a problem. And I tell you what, I am seeing the piece of debris, right? Now, this is a situation... I've only seen it on like the delayed viewing I'm watching on the computer, so I'm going to have to try and get on board with someone who's near that part of Hindle. Okay, so there is a bit of debris just at the edge of the track there, and it almost looks like a wheel.
I think it's more a front wing
end plate,
kind of not just the end plate, but like a chunk of the end, a chunk of the part of the wing.
Let's see if we can have a good look here. Yeah, you're right. It is. It does look like a bit of carbon fibre. Now, that's something I could actually understand a VSC coming out for. Now, one of the things I know we tested a lot to do with the safety car a few weeks ago. I mean, I know a few people have been wanting me to show what I'm not able to do on F1 2016. To be honest, I've spent most of the time I've had on F1 2016 testing things for the league. Testing things for the broadcasts, for commentary, testing if championship mode is worth using, it's not, and all those kind of things. So yeah, I ain't done a lot of driving myself, but I'm sure we did have a look at when you turn the safety car off. I think it also gets rid of virtual safety car.
I can't confirm that 100%,
no.
But there's a good chance it would. But
yeah, I can't confirm it 100% either, but I do think it may have done.
But what we did find is when we turned damage off, it still brought the safety car out. yeah. I mean that was something that did really baffle us. You got damage off, and yeah, you can still bring out a safety car. Obviously, you can turn a safety car off, but that is. I mean, when we've got no front wing,
hasn't he? Oh dear. That's unfortunate. I tell you what, though, right? For Tinahan, you mentioned earlier on that he's fair. He is new to front row racing. I think this is the first time I've seen him without a front wing, though. To be fair. But then you could say I've not really been watching. Okay, so Tempfear is saying here, from what he's seen, the safety car comes out when 2 or more cars have an accident, mainly dropping out. I mean, yeah.
Well, there's a problem straight away for front row racing because we have 3 commentators. So if that's 3 cars that are going to stop in the first lap of a race,
you're having a safety car.
It's a safety car every race.
Yeah. And even if we only had the 2 commentators, you'd still have the same problem. I mean, the thing is, even if you only had the 1 commentator, but then somebody did have a little crash and ended up out of the race that wasn't worthy of a safety car, you could still end up with a safety car. So, I mean, I must admit, I do think it's looking like safety car may have to be dropped, to be honest, because it's not going to bring in the effects that it should do unless it works properly. Because at the end of the day, what's a safety car for? Well, in real life, it's exactly for safety, right? That's what it's for. It's not to bunch the grid up. It's not to mix up a race. It's not to make a race more exciting. It's for safety, right? Now, when it comes to online gaming, where's the safety aspect of it? Well, the safety aspect part is not a physical one for the person. It's a physical one for the person's car, right? Now, if the safety car is going to come out for the wrong reasons, mix up the order, cause lagging collisions like Rickster's had, then it shouldn't be used. And for anyone that says, oh, well, you should because it will bunch up the grid and it will make the races more exciting, I'm sorry, but if that's your reason for having a safety car, you need to be driving a bit faster and make it more interesting and more exciting yourself on the track. That's not the reason to have a safety car available.
I mean, that's why, in a way, that if virtual safety car still comes out when it's necessary, if you turn a safety car off. When I say if necessary, the reason why I'm saying this is, in the last race, we are on the last lap, so I'll be very quick. In the last race, we just broadcast, right? Will Butler spun his car out the last corner, hit the wall, debris on the road, virtual safety car. Now, I did notice that the debris disappeared. Great. Because surely what it means is if the debris stays there, you're more likely to get punches.
Yeah.
Or even driving over it can make your steering go a bit funny sometimes if you're driving over stuff.
But, so, I mean, touching on that, though, it didn't bring out the virtual safety car until after he'd retired.
True.
Which, okay, yeah, if it did it for the debris on the track, then you can go, okay, fair enough. But this is where, I mean, as a driver, I kind of want to know what it was, because, I mean, you got to think of the situation as these guys. I mean, these guys are quite close. Who is it that's in second place there? It's Hammer Time. So Hindle's about to go and take a win here with its Hammer Time right up his gearbox. But let's say, for example, you got Hindle in its Hammer Time, and it has notified me on this occasion of the winner, which it didn't do in the previous race. But let's say, for example, you got Hindle in its Hammer Time here. They've crossed the line in first and second place, right? Well, let's say, for example, that its Hammer Time was actually leading the race, but during the virtual safety car or safety car situation, that lead switched around. I mean, let's say its Hammer Time had a 20-second lead, for example. The safety car comes out, switches things up, and ends up with him coming second in the race. If that was me, through my mind would be going, okay, why did the safety car come out?
Yeah.
And it's not an argumentative thing or a I'm better than you thing. It's a, okay, what happened? There's going to be a part of everybody, especially, let's say, if it was Hindle's teammate that crashed, you're going to have a situation like Singapore and Renault from years ago.
Quickly.
Go on.
It doesn't even say you start the race. Same with Drew.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that you were DNF. You didn't even start.
Yeah.
So
because this is something that we have seen, that when, like for example, Steve, he effectively started the race, GP there, started the race and retired himself, right? He's still on the list as a DNF. Now, myself, I'm not on the list, but every time we've tested this before, doing this kind of way of broadcasting, it would still have Romain Grosjean, DNF, because the AI car had started the race. Now, for whatever reason, I think it might be a timing thing. I do think that if I was to rejoin before they started the formation lap, it would probably be a bit different. So yeah, but for Drew, as well as Steve said, we've not actually started the race. So this is a situation where, when I've been saying to Codemasters, the AI cars, they don't need to be parking up, they don't need to be driving around the track, they need to either be ghosted or disappear completely.
right, DP.
Yes.
Very quickly, so I'm going to talk to these. What's your plans next, or are we done?
Well, I don't think we'll be doing any more broadcasting this evening. Although I am going to keep on the broadcast for a few more minutes. If anyone's got any questions that they want to ask us, feel free to do so now. I mean, Steve...
I'm going to party chat. Game chat.
Steve, for yourself, what I would say is if you want to open up the lobby to assist users as well and send out invites, you can do. But I won't be doing another broadcast of another race, not unless I end up getting talking, which is a possibility. But yeah, if anyone's got any questions that they want to ask, feel free to ask them now in the YouTube comments, and I'll answer anything as best as I can. Oh dear. Now, unfortunately, for anyone that watches this after it's been published live, they won't see the question that Temp Fear has just asked, which is, why does Steve like acorns so much? I've got to be careful here. If I was on my own YouTube channel, I'd answer it one way, but I'm on Front Row Racing's YouTube channel, so I'll say I don't know how to answer it now. I've got to be careful. he just enjoyed the battle of racing with them. That's what I'll go with. Anyway, yeah, so we covered things like potential start dates and stuff like that. So, I mean, hopefully when front row racing drivers watch this, or, I mean, to be honest, for any of the guys that have been watching this, and you know that there's FRR drivers that haven't, send them the link, get them to watch it. Because I do think we've covered a lot of important information and discussed a lot of reasons why a league start date hasn't been given. And okay, I know that there are other leagues out there that have started, but I tell you what, I bet they're having some major problems as well. Okay, let's have a quick look, see if there's anything that I can have a look at covering here. I mentioned obviously there's quite a bit of information due to come out in the coming days. Ted Fierce said he was hoping to get a response from Steve there, but Steve's got into the chat party. You can ask him yourself, Tim. It's Hammer Time saying he's not very good in the wet. I don't think many people are, to be honest, at first. And Mexico is a very, very difficult track in the wet. Okay, let's have a quick look here. I mean, stewards' guides, I mentioned that we're doing pictures for those. In previous seasons, we have created sort of stewards' guides videos. We're not going to be doing stewards' guides. Ted Fish just said, I got the message from him. Yeah, we're not going to be doing stewards' guides videos for season 7. They're very time consuming to edit and put together, so we're going to try a different way of having a stewards guides picture which will have highlighted zones on it for doing ETL lifts. Should also have on it where safety car lines are. So for the safety car restart procedure that was posted on Facebook today, mentions in there about you're able to race from the safety car line like in real life, and we'll highlight those hopefully on the stewards guys pictures, but also at places like Monza. I mean, Monza's going to be a bit of a tricky one because in previous seasons, the last 2 seasons, we've sort of enforced the using the runoff road at turn 4 at Monza, which I thought looked great and made things very interesting. That was a physical car safety situation as well that was brought in, because the amount of times that people would get turn 4 a little bit wrong and return to track in a way that would perhaps cause a collision, enforcing using the runoff road properly and having a return to track point there not only looked great on camera, it confirmed that nobody benefited there, but also meant that when cars returned to track, they returned at a point where everybody knew that they would be returning to track. So if you've got 3 cars approaching turn 4, one of them ends up going deep, the other 2 who are still fighting, if they get side by side on the exit of turn 5, then they know that there's going to be a car approaching. They know to give that little bit of room. Ted Fierce says, Steve said he's had enough of you. You never stop talking. True. I don't stop talking. But yes, I am going to wrap this up. I was just giving people the opportunity to ask any questions they may have. But anyway, yeah, share it with your FRR guys. And if anyone wants to laugh, check out my F1 2016 rant video on my own YouTube channel from the other day. Anyway, that's all from this evening. We may do another broadcast of the no assist test sessions tomorrow. Anyway, thank you, GP, for joining us in the commentary booth. Thank you to drivers for taking part in the test sessions. And we'll see you all again soon. Or should I carry it? No, I'm joking. See you later, guys.